Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to what is our first proper video of 2022. As our last video was more of like a FAQ, key information, get to know me thing that I can link back to in other videos and on Twitch, all of that sort of stuff. So in this video, I've kind of mentioned it a few times that I have disabilities and other things and all of that. So what we're going to do in this one is we're going to be talking about 5 autistic traits and things that I have and I deal with and I struggle with infrequently, frequently, every day, and how I go about dealing with them. So let's jump into it. Alright, so for the purposes of keeping track of these, to make sure I actually give you 5, number 5. If you're familiar with autism, or even if you're not familiar, one of the things that autistic people can have is a specific subject of interest, a key subject, or key interest, or obsession, or fixation, or whatever you want to call it. For me, that hasn't always been cars. It's never been replaced by anything. It's always been cars. I used to watch a lot of car shows. I used to have a lot of actual cars, a little bit growing up. Not so many now. I play a lot of video games around cars and racing and that sort of thing. And generally I actually know a lot about, a fair bit about cars and manufacturers and designs and that sort of stuff. And there's actually some weird things I used to do with cars a little bit when I was actually growing up. The first one is all the sort of cars that I had, all the sort of like Matchbox cars, the rest of it, weird. It would annoy the hell out of people, but my way of storing them was always line them up on the floor in a line across the entire floor because I had that many of them. And it would always be in alphabetical order of manufacturers. So it would always be like Audis, then BMWs, then Chevrolets, then Dodges, then Fords, and so on, so on, so on, until we get all the way down to like Volkswagen or something like that. And I'd always do that, and it would annoy people. So that's one of the things I do. One of the other things that I used to do, in fact, actually, 2 things that are very similar that I used to do with cars. One is I'd give it credit to watching a lot of Top Gear at this point. Is they had their cool wall a little bit, and they'd like rate cars on coolness, and at one point or another I actually picked that up and I'd be rating different models of cars that I'd see driving past when we're out in the car going shopping or whatever, and I'd just be sat there just going shit, 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 internally inside my head, or that's cool, shit, cool, shit, whether or not I like that car or not. And one of the other things I do, kind of similar to that, is while we were out driving anything, there was a brand of lorries that very rare, because everything's either Mercedes or Renault or Scania or Volvo. So there was this brand that was very rare because everything else was all of them, which was a ERF or an ERF or however it's pronounced. And I used to count seeing those over like many, many months, like maybe even half a year or whatever, I don't even know. And I think I even got to like 300 of them, I think. I think I counted like 300 of them in however long that I did this across like many, many adventures, many shopping trips in the cars or whatever. So yeah, that's some of the sort of weird things I've done with my sort of obsession and sort of fixation with cars. And I say weird because, like, how many people do you know that will go, oh, hey, that's a particular brand of truck. I'm going to count how many of those I see. Yeah. Okay, so number 4 on our list. I hate jeans. Yeah, I hate jeans. So, a lot of people wear jeans. Jeans are very popular. I really, really hated jeans growing up, and still kind of do a little bit, because their material that they're made out of, denim and all of that, is a very hard material. It doesn't like to bend. It's not comfortable. It's very impractical and very limiting as a material. Or at least it used to be when I was growing up. It's kind of gotten a little bit better. But because of the way the material designed, it would always sort of, in a way, trigger my sensitivity overloads a little bit, because I'd always feel really, really, really uncomfortable in them. So I'd always, you know, try to avoid anything like that, because it was just absolutely unbearable. So for a really long time, most of what I would wear used to actually be a lot of tracksuits. Just really because of the material they were made out of. It was one thing that I knew for certain actually didn't irritate me, because they were generally quite loose a little bit, and a little bit more freeing to allow your legs to move, because obviously they're designed for sports and your legs generally moving at a bit of a rate. But yeah, we hate jeans and we hate denim. I guess in the last few years a little bit, with the material getting a little bit better, there have been some occasions where we've actually worn jeans and it's been okay. Like, we had a pair of ripped jeans that we had for cosplay. They weren't too bad because the materials kind of got into a point where you can actually move with it, and like, it's flexible and all of this sort of stuff, and it's not as rough, it's softer inside as well. So, you know, maybe we're starting to get over that one. Maybe, you know, if the material keeps getting softer a little bit, we'll get to the point where, you know, we stop hating on jeans. But yeah, we really hate jeans, and jeans are really uncomfortable for us. Alright, so number 3 on our list. Loud motors. Now, I'm okay with loud noises. I've been to fireworks displays. I love fireworks. It took me a little bit to get used to it a little bit, but going to cinemas, the loudspeakers and all of that, I'm fine with all that. I'm fine with loud noises. Loud noises doesn't trigger me. But motors and loud motors and sort of like the frequency of everything and the noise, and I guess the RPMs a little bit, with certain motors and certain frequencies really, really annoys me. Like, for example, like an engine in a car, that is fine. In fact, actually, considering my obsession with cars, certain car noises, oh, I really love them. Like a Lamborghini, oh, the noise a Lamborghini makes. So yeah, the certain motors I'm fine with. But I like growing up, whenever I'd be out walking and like HGV just sort of drove past, I'd kind of like instinctively always be going to like cover the ears and everything, because the noise was way too loud. The road noise, the noise of the engine and everything, just way too loud. I've kind of adjusted a little bit to that one over time, and I'm not so bothered by the noise of HGV engines anymore. But the one thing that still irks me, still gets under my skin, even at this age, is the motors and everything in Hoovers or vacuum cleaners, anything like that, and like the noise they make, the sort of the droning, the high pitch whine and everything. It's like, for me, it is my like nails down a blackboard. Like, it's that bad. Like, I don't even know how to put it into words. And it's like, the hatred of it is actually that bad. Like, I have to actually get other people to do hoovering and stuff for me, because I just cannot stand the motors or anything like that. So I always have to get like other people to just, okay, here's a mess, hoover it. Or if they're going to be hoovering another room, I make it absolutely clear they cannot be doing that while I'm in the room. They have to wait until I leave, and then they can do the hoovering. I hate it. I hate it that much, and it grates on me. And also, like, when I was a kid and like didn't have this diagnosis, and then trying to sort of live with being autistic and not knowing I'm autistic, and people being ignorant to the fact that I have these traits and all of that, when people used to do hoovering around me, it's like I would get really, the noise would be that bad, I would get really vicious and actually try to break the hoover because it was making this noise that I couldn't stand. Alright, thing number 2 on our list is volume control, or lack thereof. So, I have inherently a loud way of speaking. I've always been like this. I've always been loud, full of energy, outgoing, a little bit, and it drives people crazy. But I've always been slightly louder, and for me, that feels kind of normal. It feels normal to be loud. It doesn't strain my voice or anything like that. So to me, being loud is kind of like, it's kind of like being at a what other people might deem a reasonable volume. It's just normal. It is what it is. It's what talking is. There's doing anything different to it feels strange and feels weird. And it feels like I'm kind of trying to force myself to talk differently instead of doing what comes naturally. But generally being loud means talking can really annoy some people, in my case. Especially if I'm having, say, a conversation at, say, night or anything like that. It really annoys people, and then sort of like I can get unfairly blamed for something, even though like I'm just doing things at what is a normal volume. So this is one where, like, for me, I notice no difference, but for other people, they notice a lot and get a lot of complaints about it, which personally for me really irritates me. Because in my mind it's like then have to like force myself to comply to this idea of what is normal, when everything for me feels like it's working perfectly, working normally, working as intended and everything. But I hope I kind of explained that one good. Our final thing, our point number 1 on our list. of traits and things. So we've talked about sensitivity stuff earlier with things like the noises of different motors and genes and stuff, and how certain sensitivities can affect me, etc., etc. One of the biggest ones, and biggest gripes, and biggest things that irritate me, and just absolutely beyond triggering, and I can't even explain how bad I feel when I experience this. Wearing socks on carpet. Like, I just can't do it. I just can't. I can't even put it into words how bad it feels, but like the fibers of the carpet rubbing against the fibers of the socks just feels really weird and makes me cringe, and I want to not do it. And socks and shoes, that's fine. Weirdly, it's fine because your feet isn't moving, the fibers aren't moving. But socks on carpet, it cringes me. It makes me cringe. I can't do it. I'm even shoes on bare feet everywhere because I just can't with socks when socks aren't in shoes. Especially if there's carpet. And like, I can't even put into, like I said, I can't even put into words how much I cringe experience with it, and how even just now explaining it has actually been making me cringe. So, like I said, that was the 5 things that we have, 5 traits. Maybe I'll do another one of this if I could think of another 5 autistic traits that I have. I don't know, that might be the only ones I can think of, who knows. But thanks for watching. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. And of course, keep up to date with our content on our social medias, at PhoebeRoxz on Twitter and Instagram. And also, you can catch us live streaming fairly regularly on Twitch, twitch.tv/PhoebeRoxz. All of it's linked down below in the description. And also, you can find the FAQ video type get to know me info, the last video that we put up, also linked in the description down below if you want to get to know me a little bit more. And I will see you all in the next one.